overwhelmed by clutter and not sure where to start? After years as a decluttering coach and helping hundreds of women around the world transform their homes, I've compiled 5 of my top decluttering tips to help you clear the clutter once and for all in this video. So grab a cup of coffee and let's dive in. First up, this is the number one mistake I see people make, and it is easily avoidable and only takes a few minutes of your time. When I first started my decluttering journey years ago, I started very messy, saw very little progress, and lost motivation a lot. I literally purged random items all over my house. A nail polish here, some papers over there, a drawer in the kitchen. I was doing stuff. I was getting rid of things. The garbage bags and donation boxes were filling, but my home still looked like a cluttered mess. This was definitely not the smartest way to go about it. Zero system, zero schedules. It was sporadic and incredibly disorganized. But all that changed when I actually sat down and created a to-do list. What room am I starting with? Which drawer? How many times a week? What am I doing on days that I'm not decluttering for 30 minutes? Once I created a decluttering to-do list, I was able to not only declutter faster and in half the time, be more focused, but I actually started to see tangible progress in my spaces. A little here, a little there, a little all over the place leads to very little progress. I wasn't finishing what I started, but was wasting energy and a lot of time. I encourage you to invest a few minutes of your time to make a decluttering game plan for your home. This first step will save you a ton of time. It will help you eliminate decision fatigue, especially if you're somebody who maybe suffers from ADHD or you are a chronic procrastinator. Take the time, create a to-do list. For help on how to create a to-do list and entire decluttering plan for your whole home in 3 simple steps, I actually have an on-demand, amazing 60-minute masterclass, which teaches you how to create a decluttering plan that fits you, your lifestyle, and your home from A to Z. It is on demand and it comes with a phenomenal workbook. I'll leave more information to it in the description. Moving on to tip number 2, and this one will help you see enormous, huge transformation. I love this tip and it's often underutilized. We often start in the wrong place and we expect to see magical results. And this is a mistake I myself made when I was first starting out, and I want to make sure that you do not make it as well. Tip number 2, if you want to see an instant transformation of your home, you want to toss the large items first. The mattress up against the wall in the spare bedroom, the random chairs scattered in the living room that no one sits on, heck, even the coffee table that serves no purpose other than to attract the mail and other paper clutter. And it's really funny because speaking of coffee tables, a few years ago, I had a coffee table and it was a magnet for surface clutter. I mean, plates, mail, cups, my kids' toys, my dog's fur, absolutely everything gravitated towards this coffee table. And no matter how many times a day I cleaned it, and trust me, I cleaned it a lot, somehow it would just never be clear of clutter, and it drove me wild. And by the way, it was a beautiful multi-functioning antique coffee table, and like you lifted it because it was a trunk, and I can store like extra throw pillows and blankets, seasonal stuff and whatnot. It was stunning, but it drove me nuts. It was literally every time I would walk into my living room and see this thing, my eye would twitch. It would feel like it was like a running joke. Like I would take a coffee cup or a glass of water or something of my daughter's, I'd put it in the kitchen, it'd be clean, I'd wipe it down, I would come back, something else would magically appear. Like it drove me nuts. Long story short, the solution to this was I just completely got rid of the coffee table. And it was very sad. I mean, I donated it, so I know that it went to a home that would enjoy it, and that was absolutely beautiful, but it was kind of sad to let it go. With that said, probably within a week, I forgot all about the coffee table. It's been years now, and I have since then never had a coffee table in my living room, and I'm incredibly happy. So you want to focus on large, bulky items first so you can begin to breathe better in your space. Getting rid of these large bulky items, whether they're boxes or furniture pieces or artwork, it's going to give you the most amount of visible results, because a lot of times when we do a drawer or we do a closet, especially if you have a lot of clutter in other areas of your home and a lot of visual clutter, which means like it's in your space, it's on the floor, it's on the shelves, it's on, on the walls, whatever. If we're doing things like drawers and cabinets and closets, that's fantastic, don't get me wrong, and it needs to get done. But especially if you're starting out, motivation comes out of seeing results, out of seeing progress. And a drawer is not necessarily going to give you the same dopamine boost as like your living room being much cleaner or your kitchen countertop being free of like appliances and things like that. So if you really want to see tangible results, if you want to, it's not only seeing results, it's also when you have less stuff, when you walk into a room, it naturally feels better. It feels lighter on your chest. Not only that, when you get rid of bulky items, in some spaces, depending on where you are, you can actually start to hear an echo. Like, it's just phenomenal what happens when you actually clear visible, tangible clutter. So if you're just starting out, I highly, highly recommend get rid of the bulky items first and then move on section by section to other things in your home. Moving on to tip number 3, this is incredibly, incredibly low stress. I mean, like, if you just want to get away with feeling productive, but doing something that only takes you 10 seconds, this is so incredibly valuable. And it is to toss 1 to 5 random items a day. Many people seriously undervalue the power of decluttering 1 to 5 items daily.
It's this mindset of decluttering has to be this commitment of time, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes, etc.
And yes, to see large results, that is true. But most of us cannot commit to decluttering every single day, 30 minutes to an hour. However, every single one of us can commit to at least tossing 1 to 5 random items a day. 1 item a day is 365 items a year. Multiply that by 5 and you get 1,825 items. And the best part is this won't take you more than a few seconds. Quick, easy tosses, paper clips, a dry pen, old nail polish, dingy dish towel, a broken toy. These should be simple decisions. And if you're looking to declutter, you for sure have a ton of stuff around the house. That's an easy toss. 1 to 5 random items a day is also something that I advise my one-on-one clients, because typically we are not decluttering every single day, but we want to have that momentum, right? And that consistency going. So typically my advice always is, if you're decluttering, let's say 2 to 3 days a week, right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, you're tossing 1 to 5 random items, right? So kind of the 1 to 5 go hand in hand with the decluttering sessions, which leads me to tip number 4. Tip number 4 is 15 to 30 minutes of focused, intentional decluttering produces results.
Facts.
Especially if you stick with your schedule and do it consistently, this will produce more results than sporadically doing an hour. I've been there. The true essence of smarter, not harder. No marathons, just consistent sprints. And it might not seem like much, but if you have speed and momentum, you can declutter 1 to 2 drawers easily. I actually absolutely love this method of bite-sized decluttering because you see results and it's not incredibly overwhelming. I am very big on low stress and low overwhelm strategies. I encourage you to set a timer. Having an end in sight makes the process a bit more enjoyable, and heck, you might even want to go past the 15 minutes. I can't tell you how many times my clients have penciled in,
Margo, I'm going to declutter, 30 minutes, 2 days a week. Next thing I know, they're like, Margo, I decluttered for an hour and 15 minutes.
It's best to keep the goals realistic and lower. So if you're like, I want to do an hour, start with 15 minutes, start with 30 minutes. If you see that you're able to do more, then that's fantastic. You can always readjust. But it's best to go from lower to higher than set a goal of an hour and then only be able to do 15 minutes. That is incredibly discouraging. Okay, next tip, and I will actually have a bonus tip for you after this one. So the next tip, especially if you want your clutter gone as quickly as possible. I mean, you don't want to wait 6 months. You don't want to wait a year. You don't want to go little by little. You're just like, I want to wake up in the morning and everything, is purged and clutter-free. I mean, the chances of that happening are slim to none. But this tip will actually help you get there so much faster. And the tip is to get others to help. The more hands on deck, the faster this will move. So if you have to bribe your kids, bribe your partners, offer your girlfriends lunch and a bottle of wine, whatever you need to do, if you can get others to help and help consistently, this process, oh my God, your home will be clutter-free before you know it. If those in your home are unavailable or you don't really have anybody who can help you, I really encourage you to invest in an accountability partner. Statistically, just by having an accountability partner, somebody who's there for you, somebody who's motivating you, somebody who wants the best for you, who's keeping you on track, who's helping you overcome some of the barriers that'll naturally come up as you're decluttering. You are naturally going to lose momentum. It's one of those things where it's unrealistic to think that every single week you're going to have the same amount of energy to declutter your home. That is not true. The first week you're going to be super hyped. Week 2, maybe you're super hyped as well. But eventually week 3, 4, 5, that momentum, that motivation, it's going to start dying out. And this is where your accountability partner is so incredibly valuable. The main reason every single one of my clients achieves results within 30 days is because I am there to keep them accountable, to support them, also because they're expected to report results to me. Right? Like I'll hit them up and be like, so it's Friday, what have we accomplished, right? And naturally, when somebody's checking in on you, you want to show them that you're doing the work. Accountability is absolutely invaluable. You can hire a decluttering coach like me. This is what I do, both in-home and virtual. I'll leave more information in the description. Or you can simply ask a friend or a loved one to be your accountability partner and check in on you every single day to make sure that you're sticking with your decluttering plan. And here is my untraditional bonus tip. To achieve a clutter-free home, the most important thing is commitment. That's not the tip. We're committed one day and not so much the next. What can help us is to get angry at your clutter, get fired up, get ruthless, and go atomic on that shirt that reminds you of the smaller size you used to be. Get angry at the money you spent on that bottle of lotion that you never used. Get pissed at the bullet you have sitting on your kitchen counter, never having made those healthy smoothies. Sometimes that helps to give you the motivation and the push that you need to purge. A lot of times when we get angry, if you can get yourself to that point where like you're pissed off, and I'm going to help you get pissed off right now. You are allowing inanimate objects that don't serve you, that don't pay rent, that take up space in your home. You're allowing them to make you feel sad, to make you feel frustrated, to make you feel overwhelmed. Because the more stuff we have in our home, the worse our mental health and our physical health becomes, right? The less we feel suffocated. And let me know if you can relate. You feel suffocated in certain rooms. You walk into your kitchen or your bedroom, or you open up your closet and you're like, you know what I mean? You can't breathe. There's decision fatigue. There's overwhelm. Get angry at your stuff. These things have no feelings. The only feelings they have are the feelings that you assign to them. What's more important? That dress, that hair product, right? That appliance, or you? I would like to think that you're important. You're more important. So get angry at your stuff. Get pissed at it for not making you feel that great. And just purge. Now, I'm not encouraging like rage and whatnot, but I know that sometimes I've been there myself. Sometimes when we get a little bit mad, right, it kind of lights a fire under our butt, and we can really kind of just zero in and declutter and go atomic. And sometimes that's all we need to get started. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video valuable. As always, good luck on your decluttering journey, and remember to be good to yourself.